Well, the North Carolina Senate race is not the only one that we are watching tonight.
Yeah, the Georgia and Pennsylvania Senate races also making some waves right now. Queen City News anchor Jason Harper watching the balance of power for us tonight. Jason, I know you have a lot to tell us about what's going on in Pennsylvania. Also looking at that Georgia gubernatorial race, really showing you that Republicans might be able to win without the backing of former President Trump.
Yeah, we're going to get to Georgia in a second. You and I are both from there, Alicia, so I know we've got some interest in what's happening in Georgia. And that governor race has flipped since the last time we talked about it. So we'll talk about Brian Kemp here in just a second and Sherry Abrams. I do want to start with the Senate race, though. These are important numbers. We told you at the beginning, the Democrats have the power in the Senate as of now, right? 50 and 50, even split. The Republicans need one seat. They need to get to 51. So as we look at this slide scale right here, we're at 40 and 41. Only one seat separates the Republicans from Democrats. Republicans need 11. 11 seats would take them to that 51 mark to give them the balance of power in the Senate. Now, let's talk about some of these races that we're excited about. Pennsylvania, we've been hearing about this. Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, Dr. Mehmet Oz. We've been watching this. It doesn't look so close for now. I was just in the studio talking to Khalif, and only 12% of the votes are in. We got a long way to go, guys. You got the two big cities, Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh. All right, when you're looking at Pennsylvania, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, those are the first two to bring in the numbers. That's why we've got 66% for John Fetterman, but we still have a lot of room. The rest of the state is probably, don't hold me to this, probably going to go red with Oz. So that's a lot of votes to put in when you're looking at Pennsylvania. What are you guys hearing when it comes to Pennsylvania?
Well, we know that we saw back in 2020, Jason, that it was the red mirage, and then all of a sudden you had to wait on those mail-in ballots to be counted for days. So this is an election that might not be called for quite some time, and not just hours tonight, late into the night, but a few days after.
Could be days. Yeah,
but
it could
also,
be days.
too, Jason, I mean, and I'm sure you watched the debate between Mehmet Oz and Fetterman.
Yeah.
And I think after that debate, a lot of people then, might have had different reactions, to no fault of his own. Fetterman suffered from a stroke, and that debate was very hard to watch. Just being able to play on emotion, taking the big issues, kind of like talking about what's going on specifically in Pennsylvania that voters are able to really relate to.
Well, here's one of the big things that happened in the last couple of days, guys. Next to Texas, Pennsylvania is a huge energy state, all right? Texas, #1 energy producing state. Pennsylvania's #2. President Biden came out a couple of days ago, whether it was a gaffe or not, he said he wasn't going to be drilling anymore, and some of those coal-producing plants he was going to shut down. That right there may have sealed the fate for Fetterman when you look at Pennsylvania. It's still open, all right? A lot of time can go by. Guys, quickly, I know we're out of time. I do want to mention Georgia. This has been going back and forth between Herschel Walker. He was in the lead 5 minutes ago over Raphael Warnock. Warnock is now ahead 51 to 46%. Only half of the votes are in. We're getting closer to wrapping this up in Georgia, but only 55% are in there. And it's interesting because when you look at the governor race in Georgia, Brian Kemp is in the lead. Alicia, you've spent a lot of time looking at the Senate race in Georgia. Do you think there's going to be a parallel between Herschel Walker possibly having success and the governor race?
Well, what's interesting looking at that race, and I covered the U.S. Senate race for the debate between Herschel Walker down in Savannah and Raphael Warnock, talks and spoke to a lot of people out there who are voting in Georgia, and there was really a ticket that people supported Brian Kemp, the Republican governor in Georgia, and they supported Raphael Warnock, who was the Democratic candidate for Senate. So I think that as these numbers come in, a lot of people might not have been voting so much on party lines, but they might have been voting on issues. But, Jason, it really brings up the bigger issue as to what's important, the balance of power. Some people might not like Herschel Walker, but they want to be able to have the U.S. Senate seat. So it really depends on how you look and see what the Georgia voter wants as to how you're getting those election results.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they're going after, they want the red seat more than they necessarily want Herschel Walker. And it's about the issues and not the candidates. It's about the heating and the eating. It's about the economy. It's about inflation. That is #1 for so many people right now. And abortion and crime and gun control, those are kind of further down the list. So, all right, the numbers are changing. We're going to get back to some of these other states. As I know we're out of time. As you're seeing now, we're starting to see some results come in as we move west. We got a couple battleground states that we want to talk about next time we visit with you guys.
You know what, Jason, the best thing about this is you're in-house, so we can always come back to you.